Okay. Visible है screen meeting वाला? Is
Yes,
it
ma'am.
visible? Yeah. Okay. Now I'm sharing the. Okay. So we have now two things, that is our cycle time, the network diagram, and the theoretical number of workstations. Okay. So on the basis of that, in the largest candidate rule, what we need to do, whatever activity or whatever number of processing is given to you, just arrange it in such a way so that the maximum processing time wala activity that is going to be at the first. So we need to arrange in such a way so that the processing time is going to be descending. So the first activity or first processing is the one which is consuming maximum time. Next is lesser, then lesser, then lesser, and the last one is the least processing time activity. Am I clear with this? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we need to arrange this in such a way so that you will be having your processing time in terms of the longest to the smallest, right? So in descending way, we need to arrange this activity. So now if you can see in the very first column, that is activity number, we have the in our first processing activities, activity number 3, right? So 3 is consuming maximum time, that is 0.7. So we are going to take care of it first. Then we are having 8, that is 0.6, 11, 0.5. In the similar way, the last one we are having activity number 4, right? And that is 0.1. Now, this is the second column. In the third column, we need to mention the predecessors as well as the successor activity as well. It should not happen that your predecessor activity is not going to happen, and then then you are directly going to perform on the activity which is need to be completed priorly, right? So here we need to mention these activity in terms of the predecessor as well as the successor. So this is the table which we are going to construct under the largest candidate rule. The next one is, now we have in your examination, there is no need to make these tables and these I can say network diagram again and again. For your clarity purpose, I have mentioned it in each and every slide. But for you, it is not mandatory. Just once you have constructed your network diagram, in that only you are going to make the workstations as per the requirement, right? So no need to mention it once again and again. Just you need to in this particular table, you need to cancel the activity which has already been allocated, right? Okay, so now the same table I have depicted over here in this particular slide. Now we will be taking care of that. If we are going to take the very first activity which is in the sequence, that is activity number 3, consuming 0.7 time, 0.7 minutes, but the predecessor is activity number 1, which has not been yet completed. Unless and until this activity number 1 is going to be completed, we cannot proceed for the activity number 3. Am I clear with this? So now let's move ahead with the next activity, that is activity number 8. Again, we have to have the predecessor activity as 3 and 4. Unless and until 3 and 4 is going to be completed, we cannot proceed for activity number 8, right? Then move ahead 11 is also requiring 9 to 1 get completed. The next one is activity number 2, which is consuming 0.4 minutes, but it is not having any predecessor. And in the network diagram also, this is the very first activity. So under the largest candidate rule, first we are going to allocate activity number 2, right? Now here we need to take care or keeping in mind two things, that is the predecessor activities as well as the cycle time for confining the number of activity in single workstations. So here we have this activity number 2. Now moving ahead, activity 10, that is also not possible. 7 is not possible for us. So let me first allocate this activity number 2 over here. Okay, ठीक है. So after activity 2, just go ahead with the activity 10. That is also not possible. 7 is also not possible. Now activity 5, if you can see over here, for activity 5, the two number of activity has to be completed, which we have already included, allocated, right? Are you getting my point? Should I explain it once again with the previous slide? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, let me consider this table only. Then after I'll be moving to the next slide. So here we have first allocated activity number 2. Then 10 is not possible, 7 is not possible, 5 is possible, right? Because predecessor is 2. So 2, then 5. Now make a summation of the processing time. 4 plus 3, how much it is? 4 plus 3, how much it is? Am I audible? Ah,
Point
any one
seven,
of you?
point six.
Yeah, any one of you just keep yourself unmuted. I'm going to ask you only then. Okay. So 0.4 plus 0.3, 0.7. Our cycle time is 1 minute. So still we are having, the opportunity for this 0.3 minutes. So we can accommodate the activity which is having till 0.3 minutes of time. So we have allocated 2, we have allocated 5. Next, moving ahead, we have 9, which is not possible now. We can include 1 because it is also not having any predecessor. So 0.7 plus 0.2, how much it is? 0.9, right? So still we can include one activity which can be, 0.1, having 0.1 minutes. So 1 is allocated. Now 12, it is not possible. 6 is not possible. Then we have the last one, that is activity number 4, which is consuming 0.1 minutes, and predecessors are 1 and 2. So after having processing from 1 for 1 and 2, we can move ahead with the 0.4. So now these 4 activities are going to be, these 4 machining processes are going to be included in single workstation. So let me move ahead with the next slide. There I have, okay, now you have a clear picture. So here with red, with yellow, covering borderline as purple, these 4 activities are going to give you workstation number 1. So what you are supposed to do, you need to project these in any shape on your network diagram as workstation number 1, and cancel out all these activity. If you can, if it is possible, just draw a single line over here that this activities has already been allocated. So in this way, you can draw your this network diagram, as well as you can have all the clarity on your table. Okay. Now moving ahead, next again we need to repeat the same process. Let's move to again the number 1 activity in the sequence, that is activity number 3. So 3 is consuming 0.7 time, 0.7 minutes, and predecessor is 1. So already in workstation number 1, we have allocated one activity. So we are presuming that this activity is going to be completed in workstation number 1, and then the product is going to be shifted to the next workstation. So here we are considering this activity for our next workstations. So activity 3, then we have activity 8. Is it possible? No, 3 and 4 both has to be completed. So no or yes, can we go ahead with this number 8 activity in our second workstation? Say yes or no.
मैम साइकिल टाइम ज्यादा हो रहा है ना
साइकिल टाइम ज्यादा हो
0.7
रहा है 0.7 and 0.6. So here, very good. So here we have limitations of cycle time as 1 minute only. So if we are going to add this, it is not possible for us to allocate this eighth number of activity in workstation number 2. Let's move ahead then. 11 not possible because 9 and 1 is the predecessor. 2 already allocated. 10 is it possible? No. 5 and 8 we have not allocated. So next one is the 7, right? 3 is completed because it is in the same workstation, but it is having the cycle time as 0.2, which is not less than or equal to 1 minute, so we are not going to include this. Now let's go ahead with the activity number 9. For this 6, 7 and 8, have we completed this? No. So we are having activity number 12, right? So if we are moving in this way, which activity we are going to include? That is activity number 6, right? So blue color workstation I have mentioned including activity 3 and 6. If we are making summation of zero point 0.7 and zero point 0.1, which is less than, which must be less than or equal to 1 minute. So this can be your second number workstation. We are grouping activities in the workstations. So we have this workstation number 2 grouping with activity number 3 and 6. Let's move ahead next. Who is going to tell me from where we need to start? That is activity number 8. Again, repeating the same. Yeah, any one of you just unmute yourself and tell me how we are going to proceed.
Ma'am, after 8 you will go to see check if it 11 is it
11 is
check
not
11 but
possible.
first
Very
predecessor
good.
and successor is not there. Then we'll go to
Okay.
see, straight 10 because it
Okay.
has a predecessor 5 and 8.
Okay.
And if we add like zero point 0.6 and 0.38, so we get 0.98.
Yes, okay. Then after can we add? It is not possible because the
No,
time
not
is,
time is
yeah,
1
yeah,
minute.
time constraint, cycle time constraint. So workstation number 3 is going to group two activities, that is activity 8 and activity 10. Yes, so this is our workstation number 3. Now next, who is going to say next? Pratik, are you there? Any one of you? Lohit, Moiz, Pratik, Azhar.
It will start from activity number 11, having
Okay.
time point 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then 7 is possible.
11 is
Uh,
possible?
yes, ma'am. 11 is possible, na?
No, it is not possible because
Because
predecessor
9
is
they
9.
completed.
9
Sorry.
we have not included. Okay, so 11 is going to be eliminated. Next one is
And
7. So we
7
are going to, yes, bolo.
7 के बाद
And why is 9 excluded?
Pardon?
आपने भी बोला ना कि 11 में 9 नहीं आएगा.
हाँ, तो अभी देखो ना, in the sequence we are having 11, which is not allocated yet. So we are starting in the sequence once again. We are going to repeat this cycle. So first allocation is 11, right? But one a predecessor is 9 and 1. So 9 yet has not been
No, it
included.
is 9 and 10. 11 के बाद हम
9
predecessor
and
9
10.
and 10 है.
No, in the sequence I'm telling you, 10 has already been allotted, no? Allocated
No, no,
in
मैं बोल रहा हूँ
workstation
जो अपने
number 3.
जो predecessor में लिखा है ना मैम for 11, it is 9 and 10, not 1 मैम.
9 and 10,
जीरो
no? Okay, it
टाइप
is
नहीं हुआ
okay,
जीरो.
okay. But it may be a type. It is a typing error. Okay,
Yes
okay.
मैम.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so for activity 11, it should be 10 and 9. Yes, of course, this is a mistake. Okay, fine. So 9 and 10, but 9 and 10 we have not allocated yet. Only 10th is allocated. 9 is still free, so we cannot allocate activity number 11. right? We need to wait. If it is included in workstation grouping this activity, then it will be okay. That 7, 9 and 11 are going to be okay. But yet we have not allocated. So we are not going to consider this activity number 11. Okay. So moving ahead with 7. Now, who is proceeding? Moise was there, right?
हाँ यस मैम.
Yes. So we are
मैम
going to,
सेवन
हाँ.
सेवन के बाद 9 कंसिडर कर सकते हैं 0.27
हम्म.
एंड देन मैम रिटर्न 11 पे जंप कर सकते हैं 0.5.
नहीं, हाँ, 12 इंक्लूड नहीं होगा. अगेन यू कैन गो टू 11. So is it possible? 0.32 plus 0.27 plus 0.5, is it possible?
साइकिल टाइम बढ़ जा रहा है मैम.
हाँ, so we need to include only 7 and 9, right?
Yes.
So we are going to, we are going to eliminate these two activity again. So we have eliminated. Now remaining is 11 and 12, right? All the predecessors activity has already been completed. So our last workstation is going to be 11 and 12, including that. So workstation number 5 is going to be grouping activity 11 and 12. Okay. Any doubt, any query with respect to what we have discussed till now?
हेलो मैम.
Yeah. Yes, Lohit.
मैम इसमें मतलब वो जो हमने टेबल स्टार्ट में बनाया था वो डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर में हमने सारे वैल्यूज लिखे थे टास्क के साथ, वो बनाना है कि डायरेक्ट हम लोग नेटवर्क डायग्राम देख के भी डायरेक्ट वर्क स्टेशन असाइन कर सकते?
असाइन कर सकते हो आप डायरेक्टली नेटवर्क स्टेशन से ही, बट दिस इज द प्रोसेस. सो इफ यू आर गोइंग टू प्रिपेयर फर्स्ट, सी यू नीड टू प्रिपेयर फर्स्ट दिस टेबल. Without that you won't be getting the sequence ना. This 3 8 11 2 10 7 ये sequence आपको नहीं मिलेगा ना. Are you
Yes,
getting
ma'am.
my point? Yeah. So if we are following this largest candidate rule, so we need to prepare this particular table. And if table is prepared, then definitely we can eliminate the activities accordingly which has been allocated, right? It will be easy for you. So first we need
Okay,
to
ma'am.
prepare this table by default. Okay, ठीक है. चलिए, very
मैम
good. So
मतलब
now
एग्जाम में ये दोनों टेबल चाहिए ना, मतलब ये वाला जो
only one. Only one table you need to prepare, that is this table given over here as well as the network diagram.
Okay, ma'am.
Now this is the this is bare minimum expected. This slide which I have mentioned over here, na? This slide is expected the same way it is expected in your answer. So first you need to prepare the network diagram, then prepare the table, and then mention this final solution. That will be okay for us, right? Okay, am I clear with this? So each will be having 3 marks. 3 marks table ke liye, 3 marks for the network diagram, and 3 marks for your this particular final solution. 1 mark is remaining, that is given in the next slide, which I'm going to mention. Now till now, up to this slide number 72, any specifically on this particular slide, anyone want to have any question?
Ma'am, in this characteristic question, like sorry, largest candidate rule, ये जो हम ये नंबरिंग एंड प्रेडिसेसर का देंगे, वो लोग खुद से करेंगे कि लाइक वी हैव टू चेंज इट later, like numbering and weightage के like time का.
I'm not getting your voice clearly, beta. Little
मैम
bit
मैं बोल रहा
louder
हूँ
you
लाइक
should be. हाँ, बोलो.
हेलो मैम,
हाँ.
ये जो इसमें जो लार्जेस्ट कैंडिडेट में जो टाइमिंग वाला है, ये लाइक डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर में लाइक द हाईएस्ट का ये है टाइम, सब लाइक पॉइंट्स एंड हाईएस्ट है, तो हम ये लोग वैसा टेबल देंगे ऑलरेडी लाइक डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर में कि हमको करना पड़ेगा?
No. See, in the data given is the previous slide which I have already mentioned. The data will be given in this way. Let me go to the earlier slide. This one. This data is given to you. Is it visible?
Okay. Yes,
White table here. Is it visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Slide number 60. White color table is visible to you?
That's not visible.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the data which will be given to you. And for every method, you need to prepare the table separately. So only one
Okay.
method is going to be asked and you need to prepare a table for that particular method only. Right? ठीक है?
Okay, ma'am.
See how you are going to proceed further. Basically, first of all, this data will be given to you. So first you need to prepare the network diagram. Are you able to see the slide 61? Anyone
Yes, ma'am.
respond? हाँ, so सबसे पहले आपको network diagram बनाना है. Then you need to find out this particular time, that is the work content time या फिर rate of production जो भी आपको पूछा है. Cycle time you need to find out. Without cycle time, it is not possible to go ahead with any of the method. So theoretically, you need to identify all these. So heuristic method is by default you need to do. Right? So if you wish, you can note down the step. The very first is prepare the network diagram. Second one, if it is cycle time is given to you in the data, it's okay then. There is no need to calculate. But if it is not given, then you need to calculate the cycle time. That is step number 2. Right? Step number 3 is find out the theoretical minimum number of workstations. Right? Okay. Then next is you need to prepare this table according to the method. That is your largest candidate rule है तो उस तरीके से आपको table बनाना है. Network diagram you have already prepared, so you can just project it in any of the shape. Your workstation grouping the activities. जैसे यहाँ पे मैंने ग्रुप कर दिया है इन स्क्वायर फॉर्म की 1 4 2 5 is workstation number 1. Then in any shape you can group the activities and mention over there by projecting a line that this is workstation number 1, workstation 2, workstation 3, workstation 4, workstation 5 in this way. Or otherwise in the final solution on the left side it is mentioned workstation 1 including activity 2 5 1 4. Total time duration for this group workstation is 1 minute in this way, right? And the final conclusion is this one. See here, the total time has been given, right? Along with the this table, I don't think there is need to prepare such type of a table, right? The last one is this one.
Hello.
हाँ बोल बेटा.
Ma'am, can you please explain iteration number 2 once again?
Increasing number, which one?
Iteration 2.
Acha, iteration 2. Just a minute. Huh? This one. Slide number 68.
Yes, ma'am.
Jump to slide number 68, iteration 2. Okay, now let's go ahead. So we are taking the activity number 3 as it is first in the table. So we are going to take this. Then we are going to take the activity 8, but 8 is not going to be included because 3 and 4 are going to be your predecessors. Predecessors, and yet it has not been mentioned, right? So should we go ahead with this? Limitations क्या था? Because 7 plus 6, 0.7 plus 0.6 करेंगे, then cycle time is getting increasing. So we are not going to including that. 11 is not possible. 10 is also not possible, right? So we are jumping to the 7. 7 is also not possible. Then we are going to the 9. 9 is also not possible. 12 is not possible. So remaining is the sixth one. Now, in the iteration, why it is mentioned 8, 7, and 6? Because these are in sequence with each other parallelly on the same line, if you can see. For 6, the predecessor is 3. For 7 also predecessor is 3. For 8 also predecessor is 3. Right? So if we are considering this 6, 7 and 8, then 7 and 8 is not possible, which are in sequence in the table, but only 6th one is possible because the cycle time is that particular constraint of cycle time is satisfied over here. Right? Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why I'm not discussing this iteration, so that you should not get confused with. But ये iteration वगैरह आपको लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. Directly make a table, make the network diagram and construct the group number of workstations grouping the activities. Okay?
मैम वो सक्सेसर्स का टेबल कैसे बना?
सक्सेसर ऑलरेडी आपके पास है ना सक्सेसर. जैसे कि अगर मैं 3 का बताऊं तो 3 का सक्सेसर कौन है? 6, 7 एंड 8. अगर सक्सेसर आप नहीं भी बनाओगे तब भी चलेगा, बट प्रीडिसेसर हैज टू बी देयर. मैंने सक्सेसर यहाँ पे आपके क्लैरिटी के लिए मेंशन किया है. जरूरी नहीं है उसको बनाना. डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज. Only predecessors are going to be required in your table. Just to make it very clear to you, that is why I have included some of the things over here. Right? So whatever I am explaining, that is enough. So if you are constructing the table till predecessor, it will be okay for you to get the marks. ठीक है? हाँ? ठीक है. Okay. जब लेक्चर लिया था तब क्लास में मैंने ये चीजें डिटेल में समझाई थी. व्हाट सक्सेसर क्यों यहाँ पे लिया, प्रोजेक्ट किया. But now we have a shortage of time, so that's why I'm not including it. Okay? Is it clear now? Now here line efficiency you need to calculate. So total workstation, total station time divided by cycle time into number of workstations. Now if you can just go to the previous slide. Now theoretically we have found out number of workstation as 4, if you remember. Okay, but
Yes,
here
ma'am.
but here practically when we are allocating or grouping the activities, at that time 5 number of workstations we are constructing. Right? So here line efficiency will be total workstations time, that is your work content time, total activity time, जो भी आप बोलो. So that is 4 minutes divided by cycle time is 1 minute, and number of workstations right now we are having practically allocation after grouping the activities in terms of allocation. So we are getting 5. So here you are getting 80% of the line efficiency. Why this 80%? But because if you can see in workstation number 2, only 0.81 minutes are going to be used, right? Remaining, how much it will be? Remaining 19.19 minutes are going to be wasted over here. Am I clear with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Similarly, in workstation number 3.02 minutes are going to be wasted. The machines are going to be idle. Next one is the fourth wala. Agar aap workstations dekho, so at that time we are having 0.59. Right? Working time is only 0.459. So remaining minutes are going to be idle for the workstation number 5, right? So 5 के लिए अगर देखें तो 0.62. So there also you can have some of the minutes of your cycle time is going to be wasted, right? If you are allocating 4 workstations, then 100% efficiency will be there. But if it is 5, then your 80% efficiency will be getting, because somewhere the full cycle time you won't be able to consume, right? So the next workstation is going to be idle for that particular time. Am I clear with this? So that is why line efficiency is 80%. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
ओके ठीक है. सो आपकी लास्ट स्लाइड जो लास्ट वाला रहेगा, मैंने बताया था 1 मिनट के लिए अरे सॉरी 1 मास के लिए रहेगा. ये नीचे वाला फिगर वर्क फ्लो वर्क स्टेशन नंबर 1 एलिमेंट्स आर 2514. देन these particular after having a processing of raw material on workstation number 2, it is proceeded to workstation number 2 where activity 3 and 6 is performed on the raw material. Then it will be again pass on to workstation number 3 where activity number 8 and 10 or element number 8 and 10 is going to be performed. It is again passed on to workstation number 4 where 7 and 9th activity is performed, and in the last the processing of 11 and 12 is performed, and then after we'll be having complete 1 unit of product. Am I clear with this till now?
हेलो मैम।
हाँ.
Yes, ma'am.
मैम इसमें नेटवर्क डायग्राम पे भी वर्क स्टेशन दिखाना है और अलग से लास्ट में ऐसे भी दिखाना है क्या, जो नीचे वाला है?
नीचे वाला आपको दिखाना ही पड़ेगा वरना आपको फ्लो पता नहीं चलेगा ना. वर्क फ्लो जहाँ पे लिखा है raw material is entering, and at the end of the workstation number 5 the whole 1 unit of product is passing on and it is moving to the store.
ओके मैम।
समझा? हाँ ठीक है. Okay, any other one, any other is having any question?
मैम वो साइकिल टाइम 1 कैसे किया है हम लोगों ने?
क्या हुआ, फिर से बोलो.
साइकिल टाइम 1 कैसे दिया?
आगे हमने कैलकुलेट किया ना बेटा, और कैलकुलेट नहीं भी किया, अगर कुछ डेटा में ऐसा होता है जहाँ पे डायरेक्टली आपको साइकिल टाइम दे दिया जाता है. दिस इज, कैन यू सी दिस स्लाइड नंबर 64 on your screen?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, तो here we have calculated ना, if you can see.
मैम एक क्वेश्चन
हम
है,
यहाँ पे सर
ये जो
Now you can see in slide number 63. Can you see the 1.08 minute cycle
यस
time?
मैम।
हाँ, बट उसके बाद क्या होता है, 0.08 टाइम इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द नेक्स्ट रॉ मटेरियल टू गेट फिट विथ. अंडरस्टैंड? आपको सेटिंग के लिए टाइम चाहिए, सेटअप टाइम जो हम बोलते हैं ना, so that is your 0.08 minute. So if you are going to deduct it from the 1.08, then you'll be getting effective cycle time as 1.00 minute.
ओके मैम।
Okay. Yes, the other one was asking a question.
मैम ये जो फॉर्मूलाज है लाइक टाइम साइकिल, प्रोडक्शन रेट, ये सब स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मूलाज है ना फॉर दिस?
स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मूला है. जैसे अगर प्रोडक्शन रेट आपको दिखाना है, व्हाट इज प्रोडक्शन रेट? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल टेल मी. Number of units produced per unit time, right? Per unit time. ठीक है? पर यूनिट टाइम में आप आवर भी ले सकते हो, मिनट भी ले सकते हो, सेकंड्स भी ले सकते हो. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ. So production rate means number of units to be produced per unit time. Now this per unit time can be a year, can be a month, can be a week, can be an hour, can be a minute, can be a second. Per unit time, whatever time you are going to follow. So here yearly we are going to satisfy the demand of 1 lakh of unit. So yearly we are going to conclude okay, and in data it has been mentioned that out of 360 days how many months are going to be working, sorry, out of 52 weeks how many weeks they are going to work, right? So 50 weeks are going to be working. Then per week how many days these people are working? 5. Per day what is the what is the number of hours they are going to work? That is 7.8 something given. So now we need to conclude that per hour how much production is required to produce my 1 lakh of unit in a year, right? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so on the basis of that, you need to find out the cycle time. आपका cycle time कितना रहेगा? So that cycle time, if you are going to mention it in terms of hours, then वो point something आएगा. So instead of having this point something in terms of a decimal, better you convert it in terms of a minute. So you'll be getting per cycle आपका minute कितना आएगा एक workstation पे 1 minute से ज़्यादा उसको रुकना नहीं चाहिए. Then only you will be able to achieve that number of units per year. Otherwise, your production is going to be getting delayed. You cannot satisfy your demand. And if you are not going to satisfy your demand, definitely you are going to lose the number of customers. Okay. So logically, you just think upon the sequence or steps which you need to, go ahead to solve the numerical. Bare minimum requirement for these line balancing is the cycle time. Unless and until you are going to reach to the cycle time, you cannot proceed further. Okay. Okay. Chaliye. So next we are having Kilbridge-Wester method. So here in this particular method, now in this Kilbridge-Wester method, we are going to create a kind of a columns which are going to be organized in terms of a sequence or parallel activities. So here, if you can see, whatever network diagram we had, so we are trying to project it in terms of a columns, right? So previously the activities were included, or sorry, was sequence in terms of the largest processing time to the, or the longest processing time to the shortest processing time. And here in Kilbridge-Wester method, we are going to see the parallel activities, right? So that is going to be converted in terms of a number of columns over here. So you can, whatever network diagram you are having, just project it. See, ultimately your results are going to be same. So don't worry about it. Okay. So here we have mentioned in, or I can say segregated in network diagram in terms of a 6 number of columns. Okay. So here in terms of this column is mentioned in terms of the region. So we are going to prepare the table in such a way so that we can have these, now here also we are going to focus on the maximum or the longest processing time. In first region, suppose any activity is having the longest processing time, then that is going to be in sequence as the first activity. So here if you can see, the first column we have activity number 2, elements number 2 and 1. So out of this 2 and 1, 2 is having the longest processing time, so that we are going to project first in the table. So 2 1, so this is region number 1. Now in the second, okay, now in the second, if you can see, we have 3 4 and 5. Now 5 somewhere in the this particular, if we are going to sequence or make a column, so 5 can be either in column 2 or in column 3, right? So that is why I have mentioned activity number 5 in terms of a dotted line in the region 3. So we don't know where it is going to fix over here, right? So later on we are going to conclude that in which region we should put it, okay, after calculating or you fixing the number of workstations. Okay, so here we have segregated in terms of the region. Now in region 2 we are having 3 activity, 3 5 3 4 and 5. So now here again we are going to make a sequence in such a way so that it is going to be in the from the largest processing time though to the shortest processing time. But here in region 3, in region 2, we have depicted this activity number 5, which is having higher processing time than 4, but it is below the 4. Why? Because we don't know where to allocate this, whether it is in number 2 or number 3 region. So that is why we have shared it. If you can see the column number, this region column na, तो उसमें देखोगे तो fifth activity has been shared either in 2 or the 3. So that is why it is mentioned below the 4. Okay, now proceeding to the third region, we have activity 8, sorry, element 8, 7, and 6. And that's why we have projected in terms of the, sorry, sequenced it in terms of the longest to smallest processing time. Similarly, for this particular activity, that is region number 4, there also we don't know whether to put this activity number 10 in the third or fourth region. So we have shared it in both the region. Again, we have sequenced it, and then after activity element number 11 is in region 5 and 12 is in region number 6. And accordingly, we have mentioned the successor and the predecessor over here in the column. Okay, so again the same process is going to be adopted. Make a table over here.
Hello, ma'am.
And yes,
Ma'am, can you please explain that how to group regions?
regions initially according to the, see now if you can see over here in the network diagram, according to the, from left to right, whatever number of columns you can put, you just put it right now. Don't emphasize much more कि ये activity किस में include करे, इसमें करे या उसमें करे. But if you think कि मुझे either third में करना चाहिए या fourth में करना चाहिए, so better you share that activity in both the groups. Later on, when you reach to the result, at that time it is going to be clarified. So randomly you just put it, but it should be in the sequence. You need to segregate this whole network diagram in terms of a vertical region from left to right.
Okay, ma'am.
हेलो मैम।
हाँ बोलो।
मतलब अगर हमने इसमें 5 को अगर हमें लगता है 2 में ही रहेगा तो हम 2 या 3 रीजन ऐसे लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है।
हाँ, आप उसको प्रोजेक्ट आप एक बार ट्राई भी करो कि 3, 5 एंड 4 वाला ट्राई करके देखो सीक्वेंस में, यू विल बी गेटिंग द सेम आंसर। आप सीक्वेंस में अगर ऊपर नीचे भी करेंगे ना इसको, यू विल बी गेटिंग द सेम आंसर। बट राइट नाउ वी आर इन द डायलेमा इन दैट इन विच ग्रुप आई शुड इंक्लूड, सो दैट इज व्हाई आई हैव पुट इट ओवर हियर इन द शेयरिंग रीजन। आपका नंबर ऑफ वर्क स्टेशन उतना ही मिलेगा जितना है, बट हियर I want to be able to, conclude with number of workstations over here. So that is why I put it in the random way and shared by the two region, that is 2 and 3. Okay.
मैम मतलब इसका 5 को 2 और 3 में डिवाइड करने के लिए कोई पर्टिकुलर रीजन है क्या? मतलब
रीजन है, बट अभी वो रीजन के डीप में मत जा बेटा, अदरवाइज वो फिर पूरा ही नेटवर्क डायग्राम तुम कॉम्प्लिकेशंस में रहोगे। Let me solve it first, and then after you just make it, raise this particular question. We are going to discuss it once again. Just go through the process once. ठीक है?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So after segregating the whole network diagram in the region, you just prepare the table. Now we are going to group the activities for to convert it in terms of a workstation. So here again process further. So we have activity number 2. So 0.4 this 0.4 minutes. Then activity 1 0.2 minutes. Now let's go for activity number 3 0.7, but it is exceeding, right? So that is why we are going to take the 4 and 5 activity. Now making a summation of all these four, it is either less than or equal to the 1 minute. So we are going to group this activity once in the workstation number 1. So here we have allocated. Now process further. Next we are going to take the activity number 3 and processing further. Should I take 8? No, because it is exceeding the cycle time. 7? No. 6? Yes, of course. We can make this as a group. So we are having the next group in this way. Right? Now let's process further, going into the sequence once again. Now we have in turn activity number 8. Then we are proceeding further. Activity number 7. 8 and 7 is grouping with each other, and total cycle time is 0.92, which is not exceeding 1 minute. So we are going to group this again. So here we have 7 and 8 as workstation number 3. Proceed further. So you'll be having activity 10 and 9. right? So group these two, again, same process is going to be adopted, right? So we are grouping this together. And the last one, again, we are having 11 and 12. So we are grouping it over here. And this is our final table. Now here, if you can see, the idle time, average idle time per workstation is little bit reduced. Though the overall time is remaining same, but the distribution of the working time per workstation is reduced. Compared with the previous largest candidate rule wala last wala slide and this slide, you can, it is very obvious that per station, the evenness of idleness is balanced, right? Okay, so this is in this way we are going to convert it. Now you have a question regarding the region, right? Now what happens over here, if you are going to put this 4 below 5, then also your result is going to be same. So in short, what I wanted to say is segregating the whole network diagram in terms of a region is not going to make any difference in the allocations of the workstations or grouping the activity in terms of a workstations. Just this is giving you a conveniency for making or grouping the activity into the workstation. So either you are sharing or not sharing, it is not going to make any difference. Am I clear with this?
Yes.
Now,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, now this is your homework that you segregate all these activities as per your conveniency in the number of region. If you are going to make it more, go for the more number of region. There won't be any problem. Ultimately, you are going to group it in the same. But the difference is that along with the largest candidate rules and this Kilbridge-Western method, this method is comparatively more easier, and allocations are also going to be giving you the this minimization of idleness of the workstations, right? So दोनों को अगर कंपेयर करोगे तो वहां यहाँ पे इवनली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है, वहां पे थोड़ा सा अनइवनली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है. Am I clear with this?
So मैम, like पेपर में क्वेश्चन आता है, तो पेपर में क्वेश्चन आता है लाइक कि लाइन बैलेंसिंग करना है, तो आपके तो ये थर्ड मेथड यूज कर सकते हैं लाइक ये.
Of course you can go ahead with that. Of course. Now मैं अभी नेक्स्ट और मेथड है वो भी आपको बताती हूँ. उसके बेसिस पे आपको पता चलेगा कि which method is going to give you even distributions of the idleness. तो हमें क्या चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो एक वर्क स्टेशन बहुत ही काम कर रहा है और दूसरे वर्क स्टेशन को बहुत ज्यादा फ्री मिल गया. इट शुड नॉट हैपन. अगर फ्री रहते हैं तो हर वर्क स्टेशन को इवनली टाइम डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करो. इट इज दैट इज व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड एज अ बैलेंसिंग. You need to balance the working time at each every station, workstations. Am I clear?
Yes ma'am.
Okay, ठीक है. चलिए नेक्स्ट वाला मेथड भी ले लेते हैं फटाफट से. Now as I told you, what you need to focus is the how to catch the marks, fetch the marks. So in this way, as far as possible, try to make use of the diagrams. ठीक है? It will be easy for the paper checker to understand your clarity. Now the last one is the rank position weight method. Now this is little bit I can say lengthier one, but still with the short summary I'm going to explain it, and then after again if possible we are going to continue the session. Okay. Now in the I can say in the examinations, if the line balancing numerical is going to be asked, now there are two possibilities. Either the paper setter is going to ask you specific method, or otherwise they are going to ask you in this way that adopt any of the method, apply any of the method and solve the problem. So yeah, now you need to conclude that which method is best for me, and accordingly you solve the problem. Am I clear with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. RPW method means rank position weight method. Now here in RPW, we are going to give, I can say, in terms of a weightage. Now how this weightage are going to be given? That is that I'll be giving the rank, say, uh, if you are in the, if you are doing your project and the project leader is there in your company, you are working under the project and your project leader is there. Under the guidance of this leader, 10 people are there, right? So if by any chance, if one day this project leader is going to get sick and he is on leave, and surprisingly, if management is going to ask you about the this status of the project, then what will happen? What will happen? Because that 10 people, the person, the group leader under which these people are working, they are not having a clear idea that actually what is going on and how much is the completion, but the project leader is having a overall picture clarity that what is actually happening, what is going to happen, and what is the right now the status of the project. So your project is majoritarily, depending upon that project leader. In the same way, in this particular method, you need to identify and give the maximum weightage to that activity, depending on which the rest of the activities are, going to be performed, right? So if I can say over here, activity number 1. So on 1, how many activities are depending? 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9, 11, and 12. All these activities are going to depend upon activity number 1. Unless and until activity 1 is going to be completed, you cannot reach to the activity number 12. So the activity number 1 is going to given the highest average, highest weightage, sorry, not average, highest weightage, right? Am I clear with this? So how we are going to give the weightage to this each activity? So that depends कि इस एक्टिविटी के ऊपर बाकी कितनी एक्टिविटी डिपेंड करती है. Okay, so in the previous slide, if you can see over here, so now depending upon the priority of the activity, let's talk about the activity number 1. So activity number 1 is proceeding further with 3, 4, 8, 7, 6, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Right. So if we are going to make a summation of the processing time of all these activity, we will be getting total time as 3.30. So we are assuming over here that unless and until activity 1 is going to be completed, rest activities are not going to be proceeded further. So total processing time consumed by activity number 1, or having a weightage on activity number 1, is 3.30. Am I clear? Let's talk about the activity number 2 then. On 2, how many activities are depending? Proceeding further on the network diagram, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Right? So 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. These many activities are depending on activity number 2. So if I'm making a summation of 0.4, 0.1, 0.3, 0.6, 0.38, 0.27, 0.5, 0.12, then I'm getting this total summation processing time is 2.67. So 2.67 time, this minutes are going to be depending on the process number 2 or activity number 2. Am I clear with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So accordingly, you have to move from left to right and give the rank position weight method in terms of the summation of the remaining activity which are depending on that particular activity. So accordingly, अगर last पे देखा जाए तो process number 12. So 12 is having weightage of 0.12 only, because then after we don't have any other activity. Am I clear with this? ठीक है?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now proceeding further, now we have the same, I can say, table, same process. If you will go further ahead, then you will be going to, group the activities. and you will be having in this way the activity grouping. So now if you now यहाँ पे देखो allocations or grouping of the activity in terms of workstation has changed, right? I'm just scrolling down this slide. So if you can see now the grouping of the activity in different I can say workstations are different. Now in the last slide, final solutions. Now if you can see, the total processing time per workstation is little bit more fine and uniformly distributed, right? Okay, so this is going to be, again you need to find out the line balancing, line efficiency. Again it is 80% only, and final the solution will be in this way. So grouping of the activities per workstations are going to be little bit different, and you'll be getting more unified or uniform working time to each workstations. Okay, okay, just try once and then after we'll see further. Am I clear?
Yes,
Am I
ma'am.
audible? Yeah, am I audible? Okay, fine. So for this particular example, you just try once and then after we are going to, if you need further more explanation, then again I'm going to conduct a session.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so I'm
Ma'am,
stopping it here, and whatever questions you are having, then put it in the group so that